how's it going today? We're gonna have a hearing with Sarah Boone and her ninth attorney. Although I wasn't sure if he's gonna be called ninth attorney because technically Sarah Boone was her own attorney for a little bit, but I guess it doesn't count because it was pro se. But yeah, she's here with her ninth attorney. She's all smiles in the court hearing today. And you guys remember, if you guys remember, the ninth attorney filed a notice of appearance on August 30th, and we covered that in a different video. And they wanted a motion to continue. And I was like, I don't know if Judge Kranick is going to allow this because I remember in his late June, in his order, he said that no matter what, there is going to be no continuance for this case. It's already been continued so many times. I think he mentioned that it was continued about 16 times in today's hearing. 16 times. That's crazy. Like I said, Sarah Boone's been sitting in jail for about like almost 5 years now. And it wasn't until if there was going to be like any extraordinary circumstances that maybe there would be a continuance. And I was like, well, she's hiring a new attorney. I don't know if that counts as, extraordinary circumstance to the point where the judge will allow another continuance. But we get to hear the judge's decision today. They talked about the motion to continue today. They also discussed about some of the evidence, the viewing stuff, and then what else was there? Some other stuff. Fuck, I don't remember. But hi, everyone. I hope you guys had a good weekend. Hello. Hi, Stormcat, Miss Mentats, Mariah, Shirley, Taxi. Hello, Miss Mentats. How are you? Corgi is never not doing something. Content is plentiful. Hi, Television Mindset. I do have some content that's been sitting in my video editor that I have not edited yet. I need to do that. But thank you. I appreciate it. Hi, Activate. How are you doing today on Twitch? Hola, hola. Hello. So, Sarah Boone looks like she's in a good mood today. She's sitting there. She's smiling. I wonder if she thought that she was going to get a continuance from the judge. But we get to hear from her new attorney, Mr. James Owens. I know that his name is like two first names. I don't know if it's Owens James or James Owens. Something like that. Also, so we're going to listen to the hearing, and it's only about 40 minutes long. It's not long today, which is nice because we're back to having normal length hearing. And when I say normal, it's because with Sarah Boone, when she was representing herself, well, things were taking a lot longer because she didn't know what she was doing. There's a lot of back and forth between her and the judge, back and forth, a lot of repetitiveness because she wasn't understanding certain things. But now that we have a real attorney on the case, hearing's going to be way shorter. And I'm just like, yes, no more 2.5, 3 hour hearings. This would be better for the court as well because they could focus on other cases. Now, as we're watching the hearing, I do have a bunch of tabs up here because there has been some stuff that was filed by the defense. And as the court goes over it, oh, Cheryl says, hi, by the way, he's back here. As the court goes through it, can you see him? I don't know what he's doing. As the court goes through it, we'll pull up the motions as we go along. But I hope you guys had a good weekend. Hi, Chloe. How's it going? Hello, hello. Jesus. All right, let's just do this. I hope you guys are. Let me make this bigger. How big should I make it? And also, audio is good. I was a little bit disappointed with the Donald Adelson audio stuff. Usually when there are cases, hearings with really bad audio, I don't know. It makes me not want to cover it as much. But I hope for the trial for Donna Adelson, they'll have all that audio stuff figured out. That would be great. Oh, thank you, Stormcat. I appreciate that. Please like the live. You love the content. Thank you. I'll bet you be more patient with this guy. Yes, this guy has already. See, Sarah Boone's new attorney. I think he's already given a statement to the press. And I mean, honestly, I think Sarah Boone realized that, hey, being pro se, it really does suck. So I'm going to be really nice to this guy. And this guy's doing it pro bono. And you know what? Since the trial is happening really quickly, I'm sure he's going to spend a lot of time going back and forth with Sarah Boone. There won't be like times and moments of like weeks or months where it might seem like the attorney's not working on her case because this is happening in about a month. Wow. Yeah, time's going to go by so fast. But he did make a statement to the press. I'll see if I could find it later on. Then we'll read it. Hi, Millie. How are you doing today? Oh, she was panicked. Yeah. Listen, representing yourself, not fun. Not fun. Especially if you don't know what it is that you're doing. So today's hearing that happened earlier this morning around 6 a.m. my time, it covered a little bit of like another person's hearing. And I honestly thought it was Sarah Boone's. I was like, oh, wait, is the judge granting the motion to continue? And is the case going to happen in November, December? But just listen to this part right here. Let me see if I have the captions on. The judge should be coming in any moment. Mr. Kranick. Here's the judge. Settling on in. Bailiff.
Hang on 1 second. I'm waiting for the state. Thank you for your patience.
So I was like, oh, okay, that's Sarah Boone's attorney. I saw a picture of him, and I think that's the back of his head. So I thought this was a Sarah Boone case that they were talking about. It looks like him, right? I think it's him.
For a 2-week trial period beginning.
Oh, this is what I was listening to. So I was listening to this part, and I was like, oh, wait, is Sarah Boone, is she going to get her trial pushed?
He does qualify for representation by the Public Defender's Office in this matter. Can I get appearances, please?
Yes, Judge. Samantha Smith, and at this time will enter a plea of not guilty, waive reading of the charges, and reserve the right to file anything.
Okay. All right, sir, I'm going to give you 2 dates. You don't need to memorize these. You'll be given paperwork momentarily. The first date is the date of your pretrial conference. That's where we're going to discuss whether or not your case is ready to proceed to trial. That'll take place on November 22nd at 1:30 in the afternoon. And if your case is ready to proceed to trial, it may be tried during the 2-week trial period beginning December 9th.
Yeah, so I was making breakfast, and I had the stream in the background, and I heard November and December, and I was like, wait, what's going on here? Is the judge granting the continuance? There's a really old picture of him because when you look at him, he looks older than the picture. You know what? I saw the picture that was posted. I think it was on his website. And looking at that picture, I'm like, oh, he looks like a really nice guy. I don't know. It was like something that was like emanating from that smile. He looks like a nice dude.
At 9 a.m. Before you leave here today, make sure you
And then I was like, oh, this is not pertaining to the Sarah Boone case. So no continue. But let's fast forward over to Sarah Boone. She's going to come on in. She's going to have a big old smile on her face. All right, y'all, let's do this. She looks very happy. She's looking at the camera. Hello, Ms. Boone. Good morning. Do we know if she's paying him? I think it's pro bono. Because I don't know how it worked if she was paying him, but then she had JAC cover the fees for experts and other stuff. Oh, this one, I didn't mean to freeze frame it here. It kind of looks like she's giving him the stink face, but I'm just assuming it's pro bono. I think the judge is going to mention it later on that it might be pro bono because he's going to respond to the motion for continue. She has no money to pay him. Yeah, because now I'm wondering, Mauricio Padilla was a private attorney. That was her other attorney that she had. I wonder if Mauricio was also pro bono or if she was initially paying him. But yeah, look at Sarah Boone. She's in a good mood. She's smiling, she's laughing. I don't know if she's smiling and laughing at the attorney or if she's just kind of like smiling and laughing to herself. Not too sure. Yes, happy Tuesday, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Feels like a Monday, but happy Tuesday.
Judge, I'm James Owens, and I'm representing Sarah Boone.
Sir, good morning. Pleasure. Ms. Boone, good morning. Could you please state your, raise your right hand now. Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Ma'am, good morning. Could you state your full name and date of birth for the record for me?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-77.
Good morning, everyone. We are here on several different items. The first is the court's notice of hearing that was sent out last week. The first issue on that was addressing the viewing of the physical evidence here in open court. On August 5, the court entered an order setting forth certain deadlines and scheduling, including the viewing of the digital evidence no later than September 3, and the physical evidence viewing to take place here in open court on September the 3rd, and a schedule for objections thereafter. The digital evidence review took place on August 9th, and the August 23rd deadline for objections has since passed. On August 14th, the court was advised of an alternative arrangement and advised the state to file a notice reflecting when and where and how that review would have taken place. I did not receive...
How is the audio for you guys? Is audio okay? Is it good? Oh no, not the Samsonite. Not the Samsonite. Now the audio is a little bit of a... It kind of sounds like it's a bit echoey, like we're in a fishbowl or something. But what the judge is saying, so there was supposed to be a digital evidence viewing, which that was already done with Sarah Boone, and I think with prison break investigators, or is it called prison break investigators as well? Her PI that she has, that was already done. And if there were going to be any objections to that, that would have been done on August 23rd. Now, there's also a physical viewing of the viewing of the physical evidence. That was supposed to be done, I guess today. Now, I remember she didn't want the media to be there. She didn't want, anyone else that wasn't involved in the case to be there. And the judge initially denied that. But the state was like, hey, we're willing to work with her, and maybe we could do the evidence viewing at like a jailhouse or at was it the sheriff's office maybe arrange some sort of thing where she can be transported to the sheriff's office and they can do the physical evidence viewing together. And I wasn't sure if that was already done or not, because when we're going through some of the other stuff that popped up in the Orange County court stuff, it seems like they were going to have the physical evidence viewing today. So I was confused whether or not she was able to do that with the state. And I guess we're about to find out with the judge.
Foresee such a notice in the court file. Mr. Castore?
Yes, Your Honor. We were not able to file the notice prior to today. However, on Friday, August the 30th, we were able to have that evidence review of the physical items with Ms. Boone at the Orange County Jail.
Okay, all right. Ms. Boone, can you confirm if in fact that viewing took place?
It took place.
Okay, all right.
Oh, good. Okay, so they were able to do it, because I know she didn't want to do it in open court. She didn't want us to be there, the media.
Very good. And who did it take place between the state, yourself, and was Mr. Lane with Prison Break Investigations a part of that viewing?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Also set for hearing this morning was defendant's motion for payment of costs and appointing neuropsychologists to assist the defendant in preparation of the defense. That was filed on 14th.
Now, this was the neuropsychologist that Sarah Boone, when she was representing herself, she wanted to have a neuropsychologist. She wanted JAC to pay for it, and that was kind of pending. I think JAC initially was like, excuse me, you already had a expert that you hired, and I think she wanted, the amount that she wanted far exceeds what JAC allowed. So that was kind of like in limbo, whether or not, are they going to let her hire a neuropsychologist to do this? And she wanted to have the neuropsychologist to attest to, I guess, the trauma she endured.
The next day, August 15th, JAC has filed a response to the motions for payment of costs and appointment of a neuropsychiatrist. Paragraph 10 of the JAC's response reflects that JAC will not be participating in this hearing. Mr. Owens, good morning. What is your position, sir, with regard to Ms. Boone's pro se motion for costs? Are you adopting that motion?
I'd like to abandon that one, but substitute it in for two other motions for the appointment of a forensic psychologist.
So her attorney's like, you know what, my client, I don't think she knew what she was doing, so we're going to abandon that motion. We don't need a neuropsychologist. I want to have some other experts come on.
Dr. Julie Harper, who was on this case previously, I believe she saw Sarah Boone about 6 times at the Orange County Jail. She was working under the direction of the original counsel, Mr. Padilla, who I believe had the case for about 2.5 years. And I think it was set for trial, ready to go, and then at the last minute he withdrew. I tried to call him a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. So when Padilla withdrew, I think he withdrew within... Was it within weeks before Sarah Boone's trial was supposed to happen? Or was it Or was it not that short? Do you guys remember? Because the way they were representing it, they're making it seem like Padilla withdrew like when right before the trial was about to happen or something.
Times. Haven't been able to find out what went on. I have talked to Ms. Cashman, the last lawyer, but we don't need this neuropsychologist that Ms. Boone had requested, but we do need a reappointment of the forensic psychologist, Dr. Julie Harper. I've spoken with her a couple of times last week. I text messaged her 4 or 5 times this weekend. She is in agreement to handle the case, to reopen her file. She has sent me her records. I have reviewed them. I've met with my client. I think my client meets the criteria for battered spouse. I believe Dr. Harper, after she gets a chance to re-engage with my client, spend some time with my client, and hopes that she's going to be of that opinion.
Okay, I mean, we got our answer. They're going to go for the battered spouse defense, and they're going to use a forensic psychologist that was already working with the previous attorney. Was it Mauricio Padilla?
In addition, I believe it's necessary for the appointment of a crime scene reconstructionist and death investigator, Dr. Michael Berkeley, who is from my area, Pensacola, is who I am recommending to be appointed.
What was his name again, sir? I'm sorry.
Michael Berkeley. I filed these judges yesterday or last night. I don't know if they're in the court file yet.
I did not see them this morning. I did see the motion to dismiss.
Can I punch them in?
Yes. State, have you seen them?
Oh, sorry. What motion they're talking about? I got
File
distracted
yet.
by
Michael
the.
Berkeley. I filed with Berkeley, who is a reconstructionist and death investigator.
Oh, the reconstructionist. Okay.
In addition, I believe it's necessary for the appointment of a crime scene reconstructionist and death investigator, Dr. Michael Berkeley, who is from my area, Pensacola, is who I am recommending to be appointed.
What was his name again, sir? I'm sorry.
Michael Berkeley.
Dr. Michael Berklin. Is this, let's see, additional discovery. We have the forensic psychologist. So the forensic psychologist that they're talking about, this is the motion that he put in. Motion to appoint forensic psychologist comes down to the defendant by and through the undersigned attorney, moves this honorable court for the appointment of due process provider to aid in the preparation of defense in the above style cause and as grounds would show. 1. Defendant is charged with second-degree murder and has been previously found indigent. 2. Undersigned attorney is privately retained and requests the assistance of a forensic psychologist to aid in the defense of this matter. Defendant is financially unable to hire to due process provider, forensic psychologist to aid in the preparation of the defense, and therefore requires the assistance of the court to ensure the protection of her rights to due process and effective assistance of counsel. Didn't JRC already kind of approve? Didn't they already have like an amount that they approve for her to have a expert, like a psychologist? I thought they already did this. Dr. Harper is requesting and has been paid in other court-appointed cases a rate of $200 per hour to perform her duties, including time and spent traveling. The undersigned requests Dr. Julie Harper be appointed a rate of $200 per hour for work and travel time with the initial cap of $7,500 exclusive of necessary costs that allowed by statute. I thought they already kind of approved for her to have a... Because since this was already done with the previous attorney, I'm assuming this has already been approved. All right, so here is for the crime scene reconstructionist and the death investigator. Comes down to defendant by and through the undersigned attorney moves his honorable court for the appointment of a due process provider to aid in the prep of the defense in the above styled cause and as grounds would show. The undersigned attorney is privately retained, requests assistance of a crime scene reconstructionist / death investigator to assist in the defense. I wonder, a crime scene reconstructionist, I mean, what are they going to reconstruct for us? Are they going to try to say that, hey, look, George got in the suitcase by himself. He zipped it up by himself. My client was so drunk that she was unable to assist him or help him or understand how serious this was. Like, I don't know I don't know. I guess what is a crime scene reconstructionist? What are they going to explain to us? The defendant's financially unable to hire to hire a due process provider, blah, 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 blah. So again, this is him asking for them to approve of this expert and at the fees. So $200 per hour to perform his duties, including time spent traveling. So at a rate $200 per hour for work and travel time, with the initial cap of $6,000, exclusive of necessary costs allowed by statute. So this is the motion that he said he filed, and the judge is like, oh, I don't see it. Where is that?
I filed these, Judge, yesterday or last night. I don't know if they're in the court file yet.
I did not see them this morning. I did see the motion to dismiss.
Can I push them in?
Yes. State, have you seen them?
I just saw them briefly this morning prior to the
Morning, sir.
prior to the hearing.
Who now? Dr. Berkman lost his medical license in 2010. Oh, I don't know anything about that. I'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
I will say, though, the judge does make a comment about... well, actually, I'll talk about when we get there. I don't want to get ahead of myself.
The only thing I saw in the court file, counsel, when I was prepping last night was the motion for statement of particulars, the file on September 2. I have not yet seen these motions.
Judge,
So the judge says that he saw the... Let's see... Motion for statement of particulars. It's very short. We'll read this really quickly. Comes at a defendant by and through the undersigned attorney under Rule 3.140N of the Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure, requests this court to enter an order requiring the state of Florida to furnish the defendant with a statement of particulars concerning the alleged offense, including the following. Should I zoom this in for you guys? I'm sorry, I didn't zoom in earlier. My bad. There you go. Better for you guys. The put in charge of the information states, charges that Sarah Boone on or about the 23rd day of February 2020 in said county and state did in violation of Florida statute 782.042 by an act imminently dangerous to another and evincing a depraved mind regardless of human life did kill George Torres. Number 3, under the Florida Standard Jury Instructions for Criminal Cases 7.4, murder, second degree, section 782.042, Florida statute. To prove a crime of second-degree murder, the state must prove the following 3 elements beyond a reasonable doubt. 1, the victim is dead. He is. 2, the death was caused by the criminal act of the defendant. The jury will decide that. Number 3, there is an unlawful killing of victim, so George, by an act imminently dangerous to another and demonstrating a depraved mind without a regard for human life. The jury will determine that as well. Definition. An act includes a series of related actions arising from and performed pursuant to a single design or purpose. An act is imminently dangerous to another and demonstrating a depraved mind if it is an act or series of acts that, 1, a person of ordinary judgment would know is reasonably certain to kill or do seriously bodily injury to another. Leaving someone in a suitcase. I mean, you would definitely for sure know at a minimum that it would definitely do serious bodily injury to them, especially if they said they couldn't breathe and they wanted to get out. Number 2, is done by ill will, hatred, spite, or evil intent. We saw the video recording. She was definitely very angry with everything that's been happening between the two of them. Number 3, is of such nature that the act itself indicates an indifference to human life. Yep, we have that video recording. In order to convict of second-degree murder, it is not necessary for the state to prove the defendant had intent to cause the death. Number 4, Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure. The defendant has a right to know of the charges against them with specificity. Number 5, upon request, the state must provide specificity, you know what I'm trying to say, and clarification on the details of the alleged offense in order to minimize surprise at trial and ensure the defendant's rights are protected. Number 6, the rules require the information on which the defendant is to be tried shall be a plain, concise, definite written statement of the essential facts constituting the offense charge. Number 7, the information fails to inform the defendant of the particulars of the offense sufficiently to be enable the defendant to prepare a defense. Wherefore, the defense would respectfully request the court to reconsider this request and grant the defense motion for statement of particulars. So the judge is like, I have this. I just don't have the motions for the appointment of the expert stuff.
I also filed a motion for additional discovery. I don't know if that made it through as well.
Was that also filed yesterday, sir, sometime in the evening?
It was filed at 8:30 yesterday morning.
So I have a motion for statement of particulars filed at 8:10 yesterday, but I do not have the motion for additional discovery filed 8:34.
I don't know why the court was not able to post that, because they were filed one right after the other.
One's in the court file, the other 3 aren't. They were all filed yesterday, 9G.
Certain things auto-populate and certain things have to be accepted.
Okay.
statement of particulars and the additional discovery were filed yesterday morning.
No. We want these people to video themselves doing bad things. We want them to continue doing these horrible history searches, okay? All the stuff that, if you watch true crime stuff, you would know that you probably shouldn't be doing. But no, we want these criminals to make these stupid mistakes, okay? Make it easier for the jury.
Motion to appoint the crime scene reconstructionist and death investigator, and a motion to appoint the forensic psychologist was filed at 6:10 p.m.
I do see that.
Yeah, write down your crimes. Who was that Utah mom again that had a diary documenting all the horrible things that she did to her children? What case was that recently?
As the court previously identified, JACS chose not to participate in this morning's hearing by virtue of their response filed on August 15th. They are not here.
Yep.
Your motions for these various experts report that they were sent to all persons on the service list through the e-portal. But I don't know how I can address these this morning without having JACS here. So I will endeavor to coordinate a hearing for these as soon as practical. I understand these need to be addressed. Be advised, this is a trial week for the court, as is next week, but I will.
Will you live stream her trial, Corgi? Oh, that's a good question. You know what? Now that she does have representation, and I'm hoping it won't be 3 weeks and it'll be 2 weeks instead. I guess so. It'll just be like the Johnny Depp and Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard trial, where it starts very early for me. I'm on the West Coast time. They're in the East Coast time in Florida. And it'll be like, I had to get up at 5 a.m. my time. And yeah, I think I will. I don't know. I'll let you guys know, but I'm pretty sure I will.
I'll do my best to endeavor to try to get these heard as soon as possible.
Judge, and I filed my notice of appearance on Friday.
Yes, sir.
And I've spoken with Dr. Berklin 2 or 3 times this weekend. The state was able to provide me with some discovery. I think once I filed my notice early Friday morning, I think the state provided a lot of discovery to me.
Yeah, and huge applause to the state. So when this attorney, the defense attorney, filed his motion for the appearance, so he was going to, saying that he's going to represent Sarah Boone. Where is that? Notice of, where is it? Somewhere down here. The state, I think on the same date, very quickly provided this attorney with a bunch of discovery stuff. And I applauded them for that. Oh, here it is. So notice of appearance. So her attorney filed a notice of appearance on 8:30 saying that they're going to represent Sarah Boone. And then, let's see, where is it that the state filed? The state filed something shortly afterwards where they're like, okay, well, here's all the discovery stuff. Good luck. Let's see, where is it? I think it happened on the 30th, right? Anyways, I applaud them for moving so quickly with this. Thank you, state, because they just want to move it along as well.
I provided that to Dr. Berklin. I believe he has the autopsy.
CPS told her the dangers of putting her son in a suitcase the year before. Do you have a citation for that? I've never heard anything about that. Was it like in the family court stuff or something? Because that's all sealed. Right? Candace, that's what I usually do. I would start later, and then we would have it at 1.25 speed, and then we would end up catching up with the real time. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, at least the good thing is that if you guys do miss it, you guys can always rewind it back, and then, you guys can watch the VOD as well.
We cannot find the autopsy photographs, which he says are critical. We cannot find the crime scene photographs, which he says are critical to his evaluation. So I know time is of the essence. We've got people working on it, but there is some additional evidence that we need.
State, what's the status of the provision of the autopsy photographs and the crime scene photographs and providing them to counsel?
We provided all of those things previously, obviously, to the defendant, which has been greatly discussed already.
There's a TikTok challenge. You know what? I feel like a lot of the YouTube channels would be covering that if that was a thing. I have not heard about that personally. So I don't know. I haven't heard of that.
when Mr. Owens' notice of appearance came on the case, I instructed my assistant to go ahead and send copies of the document discovery, which is easily available to him, just so that he could quickly have that and not have to worry about getting that from his client or whatever. I believe we also sent notice to as well that if he wants additional copies of the autopsy and crime scene photos or any other pieces of digital evidence in the case, that he just needs to provide USB and we can go ahead and burn that for him. Again, this is in addition to what's already been provided to the defendant in this case.
Okay, do we have a time frame where we might be able to get that information to him?
But if he wants to come back to my office, we can do it this morning / this afternoon.
Mr.
Your
Owens?
office in the building?
Yes, it's in the courthouse.
Right there. Come out the front door, make a left.
Okay. I don't have a USB with me, but I'll find one this morning.
Oh, I'm sure there's a Best Buy around there. You go, you get a USB.
We'll get that done.
Okay, I appreciate you both. With regard to the motion for additional discovery filed yesterday, September 2, 8:34 a.m., State, give you the opportunity to review this.
I just reviewed it.
The motion for additional discovery. Okay, so here's the other one that was filed. Number one, additional discovery. On the showing of materiality, the court may require such other discovery to the parties as justice may require. So let me zoom in. Specifically, the defense is requesting the Office of the State Attorney to provide the written policy of the Orange County Sheriff's Office relating to in-house interrogation procedures. Can't he just obtain it from the Orange County Sheriff's Office himself? In particular, the policy in place at the time of the interrogation. Oh, okay. So this was mentioned. Defense said that he had an issue with the interrogation. So I wonder, what is he going to bring up? Is he going to say that she wasn't? Because I didn't see the entirety of the interrogation. I watched the JCS version of it. Is he going to say that she wasn't properly Mirandized or something, that her rights were violated? Where are we going to go with this? In particular, the policy in place at the time of the interrogation of the defendant at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Wouldn't this be something that the defense would be able to just research on their own and reach out to the Orange County Sheriff's Office instead? Wherefore, the defense would respectfully request the court consider this request and grant the defense motion for statement of particulars. Okay, so that goes back to the statement of particulars that they mentioned earlier.
Just now here in court this morning, the state was going to request an opportunity to respond to both this motion and also the motion to the statement of particulars formally and in writing, given the...
Now that she has a lawyer that would take her boxes of evidence and laptop away from her, they take away her boxes of evidence and laptop away from her since she's no longer representing herself. I do not know. I don't think that was even addressed, but I mean, I'm assuming she probably doesn't want to do that work anyway. She'd probably just rather have the attorney do all that himself. But, maybe she wants to be really involved in this case and work back and forth with the attorney. But I just feel like it's a lot to view. It's probably really easy to be overwhelmed. She was fully Mirandized. Gross, you hate her smirk. Hi, Chrissy. How are you doing today? Hello, hello. Feel free to rewind it back. And then, participate in the live chat. I don't mind when people participate in the live chat if they are in a different time segment. Sometimes it's kind of funny to see like that as well. That attorney lied to us with the attorney lied to us with a picture on the website. What bothers me is no one ever considers George's family, that he had children. He may have had problems, but still didn't deserve. No, I think a lot of people are on the same page as you, Dog Mom. But he still didn't deserve what she did to him. And the fact that she doesn't have any remorse. Yeah, that's why I think a lot of people really fucking hate her. The fact that he was suffering in this suitcase, he was literally being tortured. Because we don't know how long he was in the suitcase for before, he finally succumbed to just suffocating to death. It's fucking horrible.
The lack of time we've had to prepare to make a formal response.
Sure. And how much time, Counselor, would you like in order to file a response to the motion for statement of particulars and the motion for additional discovery?
I would ask for at least a week.
Any objection?
No objection.
Okay, all right. The state shall file a response to both the motion for statement of particulars and the motion for additional discovery no later than the close of business 5 p.m. on Tuesday, September the 10th. And if hearings are necessary, we'll coordinate those. regard to the
All right, so the state's going to reply by next week on Tuesday, and that's going to be for the motion statement in particular and the other motion for the additional discovery.
defendant's pro se motion for payment of costs and appointing neuropsychologist to assist the defendant in preparation of the defense. Court's going to deny that as moot based on Mr. Owens' representation. With regard
Mr. Owens is like, you went pro se, you did your best, but I got it. I got it from here.
to the motion to appoint crime scene reconstructionist and death investigator and motion to appoint forensic psychologist, state, are you intending on filing a response to these?
No, we're going to take no position on those points.
Okay, all right. I will have Ms. Barrios, I'll ask the clerk to see if we can push these through the portal today so that Ms. Barrios can reach out to JICS.
Northwest, if you're in my Discord, you can feel free to post the link in my Discord. I Googled it. I didn't get anything that popped up. It just says George. I don't see anything about her son or anything like that. February 27. Just boyfriend. Let's see. Oh, wait, hold on. I think I found the article that you're talking about. Let me just see. All right, guys. We're going to go on like a little mini tangent. WFTV 9. Well, at least we don't have to go on TikTok. Deputies, woman accused of leaving boyfriend to die in a suitcase after a game of hide and go seek, once posted a photo of child zipped in suitcase on Facebook. Oh boy. Orange County woman accused of leaving her live-in boyfriend zipped inside a suitcase to die after he begged her to let him out following a game of hide and go seek, once posted a photo of a child zipped inside a suitcase on social media. Orange County deputies said 4 years ago they investigated the photo of a child in the suitcase that Sarah Boone posted on Facebook and found that there was no harm done. What the fuck? Is this just something that she just does with people? That was investigated 4 years ago. Both our investigators and Department of Children and Families realized that was consensual. The kid wanted to get in there. Yeah, but I wonder whose idea that was. The kid wanted the picture of being in the suitcase. Why? Was he fully zipped up though? Because if you're fully zipped up, then you're not going to be... Maybe he wasn't fully zipped up. Because I was like, if you're fully zipped up, you're not going to be able to see that you're actually inside the suitcase. Boone is now being held on no bond on a charge for secret murder, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't know. Maybe Sarah Boone just has a thing with suitcases. Fucking weirdo.
And see if we can get a time frame on when they may be able to provide a position statement or a response to those motions. And then we'll coordinate a hearing respectfully.
Judge, I'm going to want to add one other forensic psychologist.
Okay, so he wants another forensic psychologist. Jane, hi, Corgi. There was an interview. Fox 35 News, their attorney spoke to the press after the court. Okay, cool. Thank you. You said Fox 35 News. His name is James Owens, right? All right, I got it. Thank you. Another game of hide and seek. Very weird.
Make a request. I want to make sure that there's not an issue about my client Sarah Boone and I manufacturing the defense. And there's a second doctor, Dr. Michael Brandon. I don't know if you know that for me, sir. Dr. Michael Brandon.
B-R-A-N-N-E-N?
He spells it B-R-A-N-N-O-N. He was the forensic psychologist in the Marsha Thompson case. That was the Palm Beach County first-degree murder where she shot and killed her husband. Shot him 9 times. He was laying on the couch and was acquitted of first-degree murder back in July of this year. That was a 2019 case. So that's.
Are you guys familiar with the Marsha Thompson case? So this person was an expert for Marsha Thompson. Oh God, this is pretty long. You guys want to read about it really quick? Marsha Thompson. So they want to have an expert that was also an expert for Marsha Thompson, and Marsha Thompson was acquitted this year, he said. South Florida woman killed her abusive husband. Does she belong in prison? Question mark. Marsha Thompson. Marsha Thompson, 44-year-old U.S. Customs agent, was the first to admit she shot her husband while he laid unarmed on the living room couch on August 9, 2019. Prosecutors conceded that 4 years of physical and sexual violence predated the shooting. The question for jurors was her state of mind when she killed him. State attorney suggested Marsha Thompson was fed up with the constant abuse she endured at their home in the acreage. Rather than report her husband to the police and file for divorce, the prosecutor said she took matters into her own hands. Terry Thompson should have been prosecuted, not executed. She shot her husband unarmed. Her husband was unarmed about 9 times, 6 times in the back. Damn, 6 times in the back. Florida self-defense law permits the use of lethal force in response to an immediate threat to life, but Walensky maintained that there were none. Terry Thompson laid in his underwear with his feet propped up, his arms upraised to shield himself when his wife shot him 3 times with her service-issued handgun. Wait, what? How did they acquit her of this then? Hold on. Let's get into more details. He rolled off the couch, lay face down on the ground. She shot him 6 more times in the back. She knows what imminent danger looks like because she's lived through it, Walensky said, referring to the physical and essay that Marsha Thompson testified to early in the trial. This was not it. Marsha Thompson said that her husband promised to kill her in the minutes leading up to the shooting, but it wasn't enough to say he would do so, Walensky said. The prosecutor urged jurors to consider the difference between a verbal threat to kill and an actual attempt. I want him to pay. Husband to spend life in prison. Oh, sorry, this is a different article. Marsha Thompson's attorney, Jessica Mishali, called upon a forensic psychologist, Michael Brandon. So this is the expert that Sarah Boone's defense wants to testify that a battered woman's experiences affect her perception of imminent danger. Victims of repeat violence may fear death in situations others would not, he said. Mishali also told jurors not to put too much credence in the fact that Terry Thompson was unharmed. His wife didn't know that at the time, she said. Terry Thompson had a gun in the closet, a golf club in the living room, a machete by the bed, and knives hidden throughout the house, sometimes in between the couch cushions where he lay the morning he died. Crime scene investigators said they found no evidence hidden within Terry Thompson's reach, but he didn't need one to kill his wife, Mishali said. He demonstrated time and again that his hands alone could do the job. Psychologist says abuse victims are at greater risk of violence when they leave the relationship. Marsha Thompson testified that when she met Terry at the University of Florida in 2000, she was 20 years old. They dated for several years. They married, had 2 children. He was 13 older than her, and he was charming. Let's see. So I guess he was the very jealous type who would keep calling her throughout the days. If she missed the calls or she didn't answer his text messages, he would get really angry, paranoid. 2007, he accused his wife of cheating, went through a fit of rage. Interesting. I have never heard about this case. During prosecutors' last opportunity to address jurors, the assistant state attorney, Karen Black, emphasized the premeditated element of first-degree murder charge. Marsha Thompson spent 15 minutes in her room getting ready for work, listening to her husband berate her from the living room, before she rejoined him there and shot him to death. The prosecutor urged jurors to time out those 15 minutes in deliberation room and consider exactly how long Marsha Thompson had to make that decision. Someone's battered spouse syndrome can still commit first-degree murder. That's what she did here. She committed first-degree murder. Let's see. It seems like the victim also had an ex-girlfriend that also described similar abuse as well. The victim punched her hard enough to leave 2 black eyes. He dragged her throughout the home by her hair, chunks of it spooling in the shower drain afterwards. He squeezed her with so much pressure, left bruises. Alienated her from friends, family, colleagues. Interesting. How? Yeah, I don't know. How? Because for me, when I think of, are you guys familiar with the show? What's her name again? Danielle something. The headlines for that case was really bad. She was a woman who married her sort of stepfather. So her mom passed away and she bonded with her stepfather. They married, they had kids, and they were in a very, she was in a very abusive relationship with him. And he was stabbed once by her because he was like attacking her and she feared for her life. She grabbed the knife. She stabbed him once. She ran to the bathroom, and the headlines are so bad because she was like supposedly on the dating app, and I think she was just probably really nervous and just like checking her apps and stuff like that. But it was reported that like, oh, woman kills husband and then goes on dating app and then reports the husband dead like 9 hours afterwards. And when she called 911, she told them that he died from a heart attack. But then when they got there, obviously there's a fucking knife in his chest. And I guess she just ended up confessing to everything else. But that one, they did find that she was not guilty. And I did agree with that, even though the headlines look really bad and the circumstance of it seemed pretty bad. But it was like she was under attack. She stabbed him once. She left him. And even though it was really bad that she didn't report him until 9 hours later, that she lied about it, that's a whole other thing. But that one, I was like, okay, I could see why the jury decided to vote not guilty. But for the Marsha Thompson one, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. If you know, if he wasn't like actively like going after her, and then she like shot him while he was like laying on the couch, and then she shot him again like 6 more times in the back. I don't know, but you know, like I said, that was just an article just recapping it. There could be some things that we missed that, you know, maybe if I knew everything, I would agree with the jurors as well. But yeah, what the suitcasing was the Sarah Boone one. I mean, yeah, he was in the suitcase, he was pleading, and there's a video there, and I think that's gonna be really hard for the jurors to ignore that. The lawyer said on Fox 35, oh, not pro bono. Okay. He ain't doing it pro bono. Sarah isn't paying her because she has no money, but he has dollar signs in his eyes in the future. Okay, we'll get to the interview when we get there.
It took a while to get to trial, but not first-degree murder where she shot and killed her husband, shot him 9 times. He was laying on the couch and was acquitted of first-degree murder back in July of this year. That was a 2019 case, so that took a while to get to trial. But Dr. Brannon testified that a battered woman's experiences affect her perception of imminent danger. And that's going to be a question in this case, whether or not Sarah Boone, at the time of her actions, was facing imminent danger. In addition, Dr. Brannon said victims of repeat violence may fear death in situations others would not.
Hi, lady. How are you doing today? Schmidt, how's it going, Moondog?
And
I've tried to reach out to Mr. Brandon this weekend unsuccessfully, and my intent is to reach out to him. I'm hoping he's going to respond. He claims on his website that he responds within 48 hours. I will be, that's the only other witness I'm going to need an appointment for a forensic psychologist. So 2 forensic psychologists, Dr. Julie Harper, Dr. Michael Brandon, and then the crime scene reconstructionist, Dr. Michael Burton. And then
I don't know if JC's going to prove that, though. I don't know. We'll see what JC says. So he's requesting for 3 experts, one that has already been hired, who is a forensic psychologist. However, he wants the other forensic psychologist who was able to get this other woman acquitted of first-degree murder, but he hasn't responded yet, so he's waiting for that response. And then, I don't know, we'll see if they're able to get Dr. Michael Brannon on this case.
in addition, I would like Billy Lane, who's seated in the audience. He is the investigator on the case. Because of the claims that we're making that she's a battered woman, we
Hi, Billy Lane.
need evidence to corroborate that. So there's a lot of history between her and Mr. Torres involving the apartment complex, which is in Winter Park. That was 4 years ago. The ownership of that apartment complex has changed hands, so it's going to be somewhat problematic trying to get information about who all the tenants were that may have witnessed some of the violence involved in these 2.
I'm sure that, is he saying that maybe like law enforcement and then the state attorney's office, they don't have all that information? Because I'm assuming they probably would have investigated this and then have the information of all the tenants that live in that building and maybe like, interviewed them. Maybe they weren't able to interview all of them, but I guess maybe he wants to like reach out to other people that the state and law enforcement may have missed. Like, yeah, that's going to be hard.
As well as we're trying to get together the 911 calls that Sarah made and others made about the disturbances between that couple. So he's got a lot of work to do as it relates to running down witnesses. In addition, we're trying to get arrest reports of the prior domestic violence arrest of Mr. Torres, as well as the officers involved and their body cams to see if there's any evidence on the body cams that would show injuries to Ms. Boone. So we've got a lot of work to do, but I believe it's necessary for us to prove a viable defense of battered spouse syndrome, that we have cooperation. It's going to take a little bit, but I do need the appointment of that expert. He tells me he's already on. I'm going to have to file something else because it was under Sarah Boone. Now, as the attorney of record, I'm going to have to file something. He says he's still got plenty of hours to work under that original cap. So I'll be filing something today or tomorrow as it relates to that. But that's the only other. Of course, I've been retained, so I'm not going to make any claims for attorney's fees. I'm not making any claims for travel costs, just for these witnesses.
the JCS has already approved, I believe, $10,000 in investigation fees and $1,000.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, JC already had an amount that they approved, so I would expect them to work within that confine. Okay, so let's see what he said. He says, I'm not doing this for attorney's fees. I'm not making any claims for travel costs. He just wants money for the experts.
The JCS has already approved, I believe, $10,000 in investigation fees and $1,000 for other costs associated with Mr. Lane. That was at one of our previous hearings. Now, that was when Ms. Boone was representing herself pro se. I can't imagine JCS may change their position with regard to those costs since they've already said yes, but file it and we'll try to tee it up for hearing as well to see if they have any position, or it could just be, the order can be modified to extend to you as counsel for Ms. Boone.
Thank you.
All right. That takes us now then to your motion for continuance file. That was...
All right, so here it is for the motion for continuance. So he's saying that, like, hey, I just got onto this case. During the time when he filed the motion, he said the trial was going to happen in 38 days. I need more time to prepare, and that in order to file for the battered spouse defense, you have to do it 30 days before trial. And I only have this little amount of days to file it before that, but I can't file it until I talk to all these experts. So can I get a continuance? And then I was like, well, when I covered in the video, I was like, I don't know if Mr. Michael Kranick, Judge Kranick, I don't know if he's going to give this continuance, because he's already said, I'm not doing the continuance no matter what, unless there's something extraordinary that happens.
Filed on August 30th. Courts had the opportunity to review that motion. Any other argument or statements with regard to that motion? Mr. Owens.
Judge, I reviewed the state case law relating to continuances and the palpable abuse of discretion when the court does not grant it, but it is critical to our theory of defense, battered spouse syndrome. And as you know, that takes time to develop, especially when the motion basically speaks for itself, but we're in a time crunch. Essentially, the trial is set for October the 7th. I have to provide a notice of intent to rely on battered spouse syndrome 30 days prior, which is September 7th, which falls on a Saturday, so I believe that gives me till the next business day, Monday, September 9th. But still, 6 days for Dr. Julie Harper to come back out and visit with Ms. Boone, coupled with this other potential forensic psychologist, Dr. Michael Brandon. He's not going to have time to do that. They've got to establish a rapport with her before they can run the testing, spend the time with her. And it involves some extensive history. Obviously, that couple was together for 3 or 4 years. I still haven't peeled back all the layers. I've tried to go through it, but as you know, something like that is going to involve several instances of domestic violence that did not involve law enforcement, that was just between the two. So we've been going through that. We're trying to get some medical records where she was stabbed by Mr. Torres in the leg, and some other evidence. It's just going to take some time, coupled with the fact that I've got to get Mr. Lane to get all this other objective evidence, witnesses, and 911 calls, and arrest reports, and provide that to the 2 forensic psychologists for them to help formulate their opinion as to whether she is, in fact, a battered spouse. In good faith, I believe she qualifies based on my spending 3.5 hours with her Labor Day yesterday, as well as the other 4 times that I've met with her. I have not spoken to Mr. Cordelia, but I believe that was probably going to be where he was going to go. I was not, involved. I don't believe you were involved at that time. Or may have been.
Not me.
Okay.
My predecessor was.
But I think it was almost ready to go. And for whatever reason, he withdrew at the last moment.
For whatever reason, I mean, you saw the motion to withdraw. Irreconcilable differences.
And then here we are. But
and that the relationship between Padilla and Boone became extremely contentious. I forgot what language Padilla used, but it seems like it was very contentious to the point, contentious to the point where Padilla was like, I can't represent her. This is, I won't be able to do this in good faith, probably.
I think it's prejudicial if we're not allowed.
Oh, he used the P word, prejudicial.
I think it's prejudicial if we're not allowed to present the defense that we believe we have a viable claim to. And I would respectfully ask, I'm not asking for, I think most times you come on a homicide case, you would need at least 6 months. I'm asking for 1 trial cycle, 2 trial cycles, sometime at the end of the year or first of next year. I can be ready. I think.
So I guess he's asking for a continuance. So maybe December maybe beginning of January, and he's arguing that, like, it takes time for you to really develop this battered spouse defense, and that I'm gonna have to file this this kind of just give the state a heads up, like, okay, well, what's the defense we're going to go with, like 30 days before trial? And he's like, well, I only have a week to do all this, but like I have to get with the previous expert. I'm trying to get this new expert that did really well in this other case, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough time, and I have to get like those medical reports and all that stuff. But it kind of goes both ways, because he's saying that like he knows how much time it's going to take to get all of this. At the same time, the court could just be like, okay, well, you knew this. You're admitting it right now that you knew this, and you decided to take on this case, and that's just kind of where you're at, unfortunately. Let's see what the judge says.
I think God will give enough time for our experts to visit with Ms. Boone and formulate their opinions. I'm sure the state's going to want to take the deposition. I think they may have a right to hire their own forensic expert to go out and interview to see if they agree. But that's just going to take a little bit of time, Judge. I'm thinking 2 or 3 months, and we'll be ready to go. I'm not asking for a long continuance. The good thing about it is Mr. Padilla has done a lot of the work. My understanding he's taken just about all the depositions. I believe they've been transcribed. I haven't gone through all the discovery. She's got the 2 banker's boxes. She has not gone through all the discovery. We've tried, but we have not made it. My understanding is a lot of the 2-hour interrogation with the Sheriff's Department has been transcribed. I haven't reviewed that, but we do have a problem with that interrogation. Now, that's why.
And this is what he brings up. So he wants to know the policies and procedures of the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Was that what it was? And he's telling us the reason now, because he said there was an issue with the interrogation. So I wonder if he's going to try to omit the interrogation video in the jury trial.
I haven't reviewed that, but we do have a problem with that interrogation. Now, that's why I made the request about the policy. Our policy in my county, Santa Rosa County, is a little bit different. And based on my discussions with her, we feel like I'm going to need to file some motions relating to that. So, because of that, but ultimately because, yes, could I be ready for trial on October 7th? I believe I could. But
okay. I mean, I feel like the judge is going to take that and be like, okay, you said you think you'd be ready for the October 7th trial? All right, let's do it.
not without the battered. Yes, could I be ready for trial on October 7th? I believe I could, but not without the battered spouse defense, because I don't believe my experts will be ready. And so that's instrumental in our defense.
State, do you have any position?
I guess the state would just respond to a few things. Part of this battered spouse defense has been previously investigated with several of Ms. Boone's previous attorneys, and in fact, the state.
Right, and it's not like this is a new defense that the other previous attorneys weren't trying to explore, and that he's the first defense attorney to explore this. There's been the other work of other previous attorneys that he's piggybacking off of. So he's like, Mr. Cacciatore is saying that, like, oh, it's not like he has nothing. It's not like he's starting from the ground up.
They did retain an expert, Dr. Tanya Warner, who's on the state's witness list in this case, in anticipation of a potential rebuttal of an attempted battered spouse defense. The state's position would be that we would impose a continuance at this time. However, the state's not opposed to setting another status hearing sometime next week, possibly, where we could address this and to see if there has been any movement, anything that would either change the state's position or potentially the court's position as well.
I don't know if you guys were able to hear that, but the state also opposed to the state opposes to the continuance.
I don't think the state's thinking it through, Judge, because if we
I don't think the state's thinking it through. Mr. Cacciatore looking over there. Excuse me, sir, what'd you say?
Potentially the court's position as well.
I don't think the state's thinking it through, Judge, because if we wait a week, I've got to file the notice of intent to rely on the battered spouse on Monday. We can't wait a week that the time has expired. If the judge doesn't continue it today, he wants to have a conference next week, but it's too late for him.
What's your response to the rule requiring these battered spouse or battered wife syndrome defense 30 days prior to trial?
You have to give it.
Right, but I mean, clearly when that rule was created, it contemplated that there would be sufficient time to prepare for that defense within 30 days of trial, which is why they gave 30 days, which is why the Florida Supreme Court said it, 30 days, not 60, not 90, not 120.
But in good faith, you can't file a notice of intent to rely on the defense of battered spouse syndrome if you don't have a supporting psychiatrist, forensic psychiatrist, that makes that claim. I just can't say, hey, we're going to rely on it.
But they've already had a previous expert that worked with her, Dr. Julie Harper, right? Saw Sarah Boone 6 times, was working under Padilla, and then, something happened, Padilla withdrew, something happened. But it seems like they already had an expert that was willing to say that Sarah Boone suffered from battered spouse, being a battered spouse. So I'm a little confused.
And I'm putting you on notice. I've got to have some kind of authority. I'm not an expert. I think she meets the criteria, but I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I can't make that opinion. I've got to have an opinion from an expert before I can file that in good faith. I can't do it without Dr. Harper. She needs more time.
Oh, Dr. Harper needs more time. Okay, I thought Dr. Harper already decided that Sarah Boone qualifies for being labeled as a battered spouse.
Brandon needs more time.
That's what I'm
All right,
confused.
thank you. State anything else?
No, you're not.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Mr. Owens, it seems like you've already started diving.
And this is where the judge is just gonna lay it all out. He's gonna remind us the order that he made when he basically took away Sarah Boone's, where he forfeited Sarah Boone's right for representation because she fucked up her own shit. So he's gonna lay it out there all over again. And we recently went over the judge's order again, just as a refresher. But he's gonna kind of give us a little refresher again, and I appreciate that.
The case and what the court file has reflected. So clearly you've reviewed what is in the court file and the history of this case.
Yep.
I'm sure you've read the court's June 28th order, which was extensive as to the history of this case, multiple lawyers that Ms. Boone has gone through, the reasons for the non-conflicted out lawyers' bases for withdrawal, and why the court ultimately made a decision that Ms. Boone had forfeited her right to court-appointed counsel by her actions, or alternatively waived her right to court-appointed counsel by virtue of her actions. This
She ain't smiling no more.
case has been pending for some time. You advised in your motion to continue that you met with Ms. Boone on 4 different occasions, that you just met with her yesterday for 2.5 hours. You were aware of what the order identified, which was in paragraph 6 of the order in the judge portion, that trial specially set for October 7th, 2024, and that it would be not continued for any reason, absent extraordinarily good cause, and such extraordinarily good cause would not include the retention of counsel. You haven't been appointed in this case. When you undertook this assignment, knowing that you were not being appointed, and that by your own representation.
And Lori, was so spot on with this because this is exactly what the Lori, guy was saying, what the judge would probably say to the attorney requesting for the continue. Woo! Spot on.
You undertook this assignment knowing that you were not being appointed, and that by your own representation, you're doing this free of charge on a pro bono basis and not seeking
Yeah, I mean, this is what the judge is saying. You're doing this free of charge on a pro bono basis. And I feel like the judge should know if that's correct or not, and he wouldn't just be saying it if he didn't know, right? Unless the judge is wrong.
not include the retention of counsel. You haven't been appointed in this case. When you undertook this assignment knowing that you were not being appointed, and that by your own representation you're doing this free of charge on a pro bono basis and not seeking recompensation for any lodging or travel. You knew what the deadlines were for the court. With regard to any of the experts, there have been multiple prior experts in this case. You already identified Dr.
Sorry, I want to get the exact quote that the judge said. Let's see. You undertook this You undertook this assignment knowing that
You were not being appointed, and that by your own representation, you're doing this free of charge.
By your own representation, you're doing this free of charge.
Pro bono basis and not
On a pro bono.
seeking recompensation for any lodging or travel. You knew what the deadlines were for the court. With regard to any of the experts, there have been multiple prior experts in this case. You already identified Dr. Julie Harper. a forensic psychologist. You advise that she's met with the defendant on 6 different occasions. She was appointed back on August 3 of 2020. Under Mr. Padilla's representation of Ms. Boone, at no point in time did Mr. Padilla file a Category A witness list, disclosing Ms. Dr. Harper as a testifying expert, and as you astutely pointed out, this matter was days, if not weeks, away from being tried when Mr. Padilla moved to withdraw based on the reasons outlined in the court's June 28th order. Thereafter, Dr. Charles Heller, another forensic psychologist, was appointed on February 3rd, 2022, and again on March 1, 2022. No Category A witness list was ever disclosed with regard to Mr. Heller. Then Winston Hobson had an undisclosed expert that had met with Ms. Boone, as addressed in open court on February 9, 2024. And as Mr. Hobson put it, that expert was not meeting with what Ms. Boone had desired or requested.
See, here's the thing. I think in addition to shopping for attorneys that were assigned to her, I think she was also shopping for experts to go along with what she wants for trial. It seems like, you know, I don't know what happened. Maybe her, this is just me speculating, okay? Me completely fucking speculating. Maybe her and Padilla ultimately, you know, maybe their relationship became contentious because she didn't like the experts that was working with them. And she was like, well, why can't you get another expert that can say what I want to say? Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just speculating here. But it seems like she's already gone through other experts. There was so aside from Julie Harper, that was appointed to her and met her 6 times. There was a Charles Heller that was appointed to her. I don't know. Maybe she wasn't happy with, you know, what Dr. Charles Heller was saying. And then Winston Hobson had another expert that met with her. But the judge is saying that this expert did not meet with what Miss Boone had desired. So I don't know if these experts are just saying, like, hey, you don't qualify for blah, 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 blah. And then Boone's like, oh, that you must be wrong. I don't agree with you. So I don't know if she was also shopping for experts as well, hoping to find one that agrees with what she wants him to say.
As addressed in open court on February 9, 2024, and as Mr. Hobson put it, that expert was not meeting with what Ms. Boone had desired or requested of that expert. There was another expert psychologist that was appointed by Patricia Cashman on February.
Another expert. So we're going through experts. We're going through attorneys.
Ms. Boone had desired or requested of that expert. There was another expert psychologist that was appointed by Patricia Cashman on February 28, 2024, who had expertise in battered spouse and or battered wife syndrome. There were also Dr. Linda Dore, 2 times sought to be appointed, once by Attorney Bankowitz. Dr. Dore specializes in battered wife or battered spouse syndrome. Once by Dr. Bankowitz Mr. Bankowitz, on July 17, 2023, again by Attorney Hobson on January 1, 2024. Based on the Florida Supreme Court decisions in Middleton versus State, 220-730.
So she met with a lot of experts, a lot of psychologists.
115.
I'm actually surprised that JC went through so many. I don't know. To me, it seems like because there's already been so many other experts that met with her, other psychologists. I don't know. Something tells me that JC is not going to let her hire this other forensic psychologist that they want to have on the case. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe not.
2 and 1176, Embargo v. State 221 Southern 3rd 562 at 569. There's a 2-part test determining the need of experts. We're not going to be addressing that today, as you've sought to file these other motions that I haven't had really the opportunity to address. And JCS is not here and have the opportunity to review those. In Ramos versus State, 75 Southern 3rd, 1277, at pinpoint 1281, by the Florida 4th DCA in 2011, citing to Lawson v. State, 884 Southern 2nd, 540, also by the Florida 4th DCA in 2004. In that case, defendant Ramos changed his defense counsel at least 4 times while this case was pending, with the latest change of counsel occurring 2 to 3 months before the actual trial date. There's no record evidence showing that any of Ramos's previous attorneys had provided ineffective assistance, and the defense had already moved for 4 continuances to prepare for trial. Similar to the Ramos case, Ms. Boone has played a prominent role in shortening the preparation time for trial, as set forth in the court's June 28th order. This case has already been continued 16 times. As of the date
16 times?
the court's June 28th order, this case has already been continued 16 times. As of the date of your filing of your notice of appearance on August 30th, this case has been pending for 4 years, 6 months, and 4 days. On June 7th, this case was specifically set for trial on October 7th, and the June 28th order by the court specifically speaks for itself and evidences how Ms. Boone played a prominent role in shortening the time for preparation for trial when her 8th attorney, Ms. Cashman, withdrew. Ms. Boone reached the point where her right to adequate time for preparation of trial was counterbalanced by the right to the effective administration of justice. As of August 30th, when the notice of appearance was filed, there were 37 days until trial commencing in this matter. Considering
The judge is just reminding her over and over and over and over again what Sarah Boone did in order to screw herself over this badly.
the prejudice of the denial, Ms. Boone has already availed herself to 4 different attorneys that were not conflicted out, Padilla, Bankwitz, Hobson, and Cashman, and only has herself to blame for the withdrawal of those 4 attorneys based on the representations in those motions and the findings in the court's June 28th order. Discovery has been reviewed with Ms. Boone by prior counsels, as established by counsel's representations in various hearings, and prior counsel's motions for attorney's fees, all of which were filed in the month of August of 2024. Ms. Boone has had discovery in her possession since August 5, 2024. The digital discovery that the state seeks to admit at trial was provided to Ms. Boone on August 9. Although you are not court-appointed, sir, the court's done its own research with regard to your expertise. You've been barred since...
You know what? This is why I really like the judge. I feel like he's really firm. But at the same time, he's like firm, fair, in my opinion. And when he's telling the lawyer no, he's like, hey, let's go over your expertise really quick. And you know what? You got this. You got this. It's like a really soft way of saying no, but at the same time, firm. I don't know how to describe it. But just listen to the part where he basically compliments the attorney here.
Trial was provided to Ms. Boone on August 9. Although you are not court-appointed, sir, the court's done its own research with regard to your expertise. You've been barred since October 15, 1986, with a duly elected public defender of the First Judicial Circuit in the state of Florida from 2009 to 2012. You've tried over 100 cases to verdict throughout your career. You've met with Ms. Boone on 4 occasions, as outlined in your motion, not including the meeting that you had with Ms. Boone yesterday. As to the battered spouse syndrome defense, you still have time to file the appropriate notice in accordance with the rule. In considering all the factors as set forth in terms of the state 311 7 3rd 185 at pinpoint 189, Florida 2nd DCA 2020, your motion for continuance is denied. This trial is still set for October.
I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts about that? It's like, although you're not a court-appointed attorney, I've done my research on you, and you've been an attorney since 86. You were a public defender. You won the election for, 2009, 2012 period. And, you met with Sarah Boone a couple times. You got this. You have a couple days to file this, but don't worry. You got this. You've had hundreds of hours working as an attorney. So, I don't know. I feel like it's like, okay. I know, right? Barred sounds negative. Yeah, I know. Initially when the judge said that, I was like, barred. That sounds like, because most people, when you say like, oh, someone was barred, yeah, it doesn't sound very good. But I think you meant like you passed the bar, maybe, and then, yeah.
October 7th, we will have pre-trial. The
Pre-trial dates.
6th to 27th. Pre-trial in this matter, or trial case management will still be set for September 26th at 9 a.m.
26.
Judge, a couple of things. Number one, I have a full practice. I've got a docket day this afternoon in Santa Rosa County before Circuit Judge Scott Duncan. I've got 12 clients that are pending. I've got other people covering it, but I do have a full docket. If we set some of these hearings involving my motions, could I be allowed to appear by Zoom?
Any objection?
Oh, I wonder how Sarah Boone feels about that. Wait, what? I hired you and you have other clients? Excuse me? You're appear by Zoom?
No, Your Honor.
The only request that I would have, sir, is the rules of general practice require a notice regarding your appearance. If you could just file a motion and provide a form order, I'll sign it, and you can appear virtually. There's no reason for you to drive all the way down from Santa Rosa County for all these hearings when we can appear virtually. JACS, I imagine, will be appearing virtually for some of these motions with regard to the experts. So as long as you file a notice in advance, sir, I've got no problems with that.
Judge,
No problem.
that pre-trial order, it mentioned, I thought, that the state attorney was supposed to meet with the defendant and the defendant's investigator and review all the digital evidence from the order. That's the way I read it. They were supposed to sit there all together and watch every potential video exhibit the state was going to intend to introduce at trial. That has not happened.
So this is the part where I don't know if he was confused or maybe I was confused, but they talked about that in the beginning of this hearing where the digital evidence was given to Sarah Boone, prison break, Mr. Billy Lane helped with that as well, where they gave her like a USB and then like she was able to view all that. I don't know if he's thinking about the physical evidence viewing where they go through it with the state together.
I think today was the deadline for that. I don't mind extending that because I'm going to need to look at the evidence.
With regard to the digital, the deadline, you are correct, sir. The deadline was today, based on the August 5 order. If it did not happen before then, as I outlined at the beginning, there was a change to that process. A thumb drive was provided in open court to Mr. Lane on August 9. He then provided it to Ms. Boone.
Yeah, I think Mr. Lane and Boone, I think they were trying to go over the files together and open them together at the jailhouse.
Thumb drive of the specific digital evidence that the state is seeking to admit at trial based on the witness and exhibit list that was filed under seal on August 9. Ms. Boone had the opportunity to review that information at that time.
All right, I'm going to ask for more time for me to review the digital exhibits they intend to introduce. I don't know if they've been redacted. I don't know if they're the originals, but I'm going to need to look at that. And I went to the jail yesterday. I had to let them know in advance that I was coming. I believe my secretary had emailed them and said I wanted to bring in my laptop and my phone to view evidence and whatnot. I was not allowed to bring in my laptop and phone yesterday for 3.5 hours. So I didn't get done a lot of the things that I wanted to get done within that period of time. Probably would have stayed there a lot longer if I would have had that capability. So I would ask for some more time to be.
I like judges like that, where they don't need to be rude, they don't need to be snarky to get their point across.
able to look, for me to look.
Unlike some other judges. Some other rude judges. Although, you know, sometimes you see a little bit of snark from judges is kind of entertaining from, you know, us viewer perspectives. But I do feel bad for attorneys sometimes when they have to deal with a judge that's like very snarky and rude.
Through the digital evidence as to what they're, I assume it's being redacted. I know some of the audio in terms of clients, comments my client made, comments the officers made, some of it is, in my opinion, improper to be presented before the jury. So I'd like some extra time to be able to do that.
State.
Wait, comments by the officers?
As to what they're, I assume it's being redacted. I know some of the audio in terms of clients, comments my client made, comments the officers made, some of it is, in my opinion, improper.
Improper, okay. In the interrogation?
To be presented before the jury. So I'd like some extra time to be able to do that.
State.
I'm not certain, is he asking for a continuance again? What is the extra time that he's seeking?
What is it you're asking for? Extra time to do what?
The way I understand the order, I'm looking at paragraph 4 of the scheduling order and notice of hearings that, Judge, you signed August the 5th. Paragraph 4, the state's digital evidence will be reviewed with the state's investigator, the defendant's investigator, no later than September 3rd, 2024. This evidence viewing can be done in advance of September 3rd deadline. The state shall provide the defendant USB drive with the station. They never viewed it with my client in its entirety. As the order states, they were to do by today.
Yeah, this is where I was confused too, because I was like, the digital stuff that was already given by USB, and the physical already happened this past weekend, like Cacciatore said.
So the state attorney has failed to comply with the court's order. I'm saying I haven't had a chance to view it either. Can we reset that deadline?
Mr. Cacciatore, excuse me, Judge. This guy has thrown daggers at me 3 times already today. I'm just over here being nice.
On August 9th, Mr. Owens, we had a different hearing. And at that hearing, we addressed the digital discovery review. Mr. Lane was here. There was a USB provided in open court. And the August 9 order and notice of hearing identifies a change to that August 5 order. Specifically in paragraph 4, prison break investigations. By and through investigator Billy Lane shall take possession and custody of the USB jump drive, which contains the state digital evidence, tendered in open court on August 9, 2024, and shall provide same to Major Malik X. Muhammad at the Orange County Jail today, August 9. Paragraph 6, prison break investigation shall file with the court a notice reflecting that the discovery in the USB jump drive, which contains the state digital evidence, was provided to Major Malik X. Muhammad at the Orange County Jail according to the date and time of the transfer. Such a notice was provided by Mr. Lane and filed in the court file. It was discussed at that August 9 hearing as to the revising of the digital evidence schedule. Paragraph 8 states that on August 14th, 2024, 1:30 p.m., a hearing will be held, courtroom 12A.
Hope they do a reenactment of a person willingly getting to a suitcase and attempting to get out without assistance in the courtroom. I don't know. They want to hire the accident reconstructionist or something? Crime scene reconstructionist and a death investigator. I don't know. That'll be very interesting to hear from in the trial. If they're able to get this person.
A, regarding defendant's review of USB jump drive, which contains the state's digital evidence, the defendant's August 7th letter to the court, provided to the court on August 9, and the media's participation in the physical evidence viewing on September 3, 2024, the pertinent case law is attached. On August 14th, we had a hearing, we discussed that, and we identified that she had the deadline until August 23rd to make any objections. Now, under the original scheduling order, which said this matters, which on August 5, which set the schedule for when there would be deadlines for objections, those would be extended by good cause shown. Are you seeking at this point in time to extend the deadline for a period for objections which has since expired?
Yeah, and I think this judge is also very patient and helpful too, because the state's like, so I don't know what the defense is asking. Is he asking for another continuance? Because I don't know what he's asking. And then the defense is like, well, I don't know. I don't have, I feel like this should have happened. The state didn't do this. And the judge is like, okay, so what are you asking for? Let me go over this and let me help you out, because I think what you're asking for is to extend the deadline for the objections. Yes, is that what you want?
Yes.
Okay. State?
No.
Okay. How much time would you like, sir, in order to review the state's digital evidence that it seeks to admit into evidence and tender any objections?
Well, I've got to go buy a jump drive. I've got to take it down to his office. He's going to give me that evidence. Obviously, I need to review it for my client. I've got a flight out of here around, I think, 4 o'clock. I don't know if I can get it done by then, but I don't see the necessity of an issue maybe a week prior to trial. Whatever that is, a week prior to that Monday, October the 7th, the week prior.
State?
I'm amenable to setting a status hearing that week.
Here's what we're going to do. We'll address any objections to any of the discovery when we have trial case management on the 26th.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Anything else, Attorney Owens?
Give me 1 minute.
Sure.
The Hateful Eight, isn't that a movie with Quentin Tarantino? Or is that a different movie title? I watched it recently. That was pretty good. Oh, you know what I watched recently too? The Godfather. Dude, Godfather 1 and Godfather 2. Fredo, why? Why did you do that? Okay, anyways. All these like classic movies I'm like starting to watch now. 10K was approved for the PI, if I remember correctly. I don't know if the 10K was for PI and the other experts. I thought it was for just the PI.
Clerk's going to work dutifully to, it's already done? Excellent. I'll have Ms. Barrios, my judicial assistant, forward these to JCS and see if we can coordinate a hearing. State will have till close of business September 10th to file responses to motion for statement of particulars and motion for additional discovery. Parties having no other business before the court. Y'all can have a fabulous day.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, sir.
Can I have a word with Sarah?
Absolutely.
Was that a little fist bump? That was kind of cute. I think he gave her a little fist bump, or he gave her something. I don't know what that was. It was for the PI, right? Okay. Listen, we may not like Sarah Boone, okay? I certainly do not like Sarah Boone, but I am for sure glad that she had an attorney because, you know, this hearing could have been 3 hours long, all right? There could have been a lot of back and forth and a lot of the judge re-explaining things over and over and over and over to Sarah Boone, being repetitive to her because, you know, of how she is. I'm just glad that she has an attorney, all right? Now maybe the trial will be 2 weeks long instead of 3 weeks long. You guys talked about let's see. The attorney did an interview, and I have it up here somewhere. But you know what? I learned a lot of information, or maybe we had a lot of good refreshers from today's hearing. Just to highlight today's hearing, for those of you guys who missed it, I certainly would probably go back and rewatch it if you guys want to. But just to highlight today's hearing, what do we have today? So Sarah Boone has a new attorney number 9, Mr. James Owens. Mr. James Owens. So today there was supposed to be a physical evidence viewing in open court. That didn't happen. Of course, Sarah Boone is happy that didn't happen because she didn't want the media to be there because her and the state and I think maybe prison break investigators, Mr. Bidley Lane, they met on Friday to do that. So we're not going to do that today. That's good. Sarah Boone, remember when she put in a motion for to hire an expert for a neuropsychologist? Well, her new attorney's like, no, we're abandoning that. We don't need that motion. Instead, we're going to go with 2 forensic psychologists. One of the forensic psychologists was able to testify in a different trial that happened early this year where same thing. Well, not same thing. I think the circumstances are pretty different, but the woman shot her husband 9 times total, 6 of those times, I think, into his back. And she was acquitted of first-degree murder. I read the recap of that, and I still don't understand how the acquittal happened. But like I said, if I really look into the case, maybe I would agree with the jury. I didn't really do that on stream. So they want to hire that expert to be on this case. But the thing is, the defense attorney reached out to that expert. The expert hasn't replied back yet. I mean, it is Labor Day weekend, but we don't know if he's going to be able to get that expert because one, JAC has to approve of this expert and they have to, I don't know, hopefully get this expert to reply and work with them and meet with Sarah Boone ASAP. Cause that's going to take some time. Not only that, Mr. Defense Attorney also wants to hire a crime scene reconstructionist, a death investigator. Name is Dr. Michael Birkin. And if they do get that, that'll be very interesting because I do want to see what are they going to present during the trial. They talked about other motions that he filed. We went over them throughout this video, so feel free to rewind and go back to those. And if you guys want to watch the live stream, usually what I'll do is I'll edit a video where I have the chapters labeled and you guys can go through that later on if you like. That might make it easier for you. All right, so they're going to try to get some information on the DV arrests on George, try to get some body cam footages from those arrests and those police encounters that happened, 4 plus 5, 6, 7 years ago. It says that the attorney, I mean, it seems like the attorney is pro bono. It seems like the attorney is not asking for any fees, not asking for a travel cost, but they just want fees for these experts. Then they address the motion for a continuance. The judge has denied that. I would definitely rewind back to where the judge addressed the reason why he's denying it. And he goes over Sarah Boone's history. And he essentially said that, hey, you weren't appointed by the court. You undertook this. You knew that you weren't appointed. and you knew that you're doing this free of charge on a pro bono basis. You're not asking for compensation on lodging or travel. And when you took on this case, you knew the deadlines for this court. There were other multiple experts that worked on this, and it seems like Sarah Boone was maybe shopping for experts, and maybe she didn't like those other experts, but she had a Julie Harper that was appointed to her by the previous attorney. Oh, well, we also learned, not the previous attorney, sorry, the first attorney that withdrew. The first attorney withdrew about days or weeks before the trial was going to happen. Crazy. I don't know if I realized that. Maybe I did know that and I just forgot. However, they had another forensic psychologist that was appointed to Sarah Boone. I guess maybe that didn't work out, or I'm not too sure. Winston Hobson, a former attorney, also had another expert that met with Sarah Boone, but the judge said this verbatim. The expert did not meet with what Sarah Boone desired or requested of that expert. So maybe the expert made some sort of conclusion and Sarah Boone's like, no, I don't agree with you. You're wrong. There was another expert that was hired by Patricia Cashman. It seems like that expert, I don't know, I guess maybe didn't work out. Not too sure. Or they dropped that expert because, now there's a new attorney representing the case. Or not, that was when she was dropped and then Sarah Boone had to go pro se. There was a Lyndon Durer, I'm not too sure how to pronounce that last name, that Bankowitz hired as well, that specialized in battered spouse, and then was also used by Winston Hobson. So I don't know if they didn't like that expert, but that's a lot of experts to be cycling through. The judge also made a point to mention that the case has been continued 16 times already, and that when he set that on June 7th, when he set that trial date for October 7th, he's keeping it. He's not going to move it for whatever reason, and we're going to have the trial in about a little bit over a month. So he also reiterated that Sarah Boone played a prominent role in shortening the prep time, how Cashman withdrew, how Sarah Boone had 4 attorneys that were not conflicted out. So, all this stuff that's happening to her right now is because of her own doing. And again, like I said, the judge, I think he does a really good job. Like when he's saying no and being really firm with it, he's also kind of complimentary as well. Because he reminds the defense attorney, like, hey, you are really you're a well-seasoned attorney. Okay, you've been doing this since 1986. You were elected as a public defender, like the public defender from 2009, 2012, and you got this. You have time to file this. You got this. They did set a pretrial date of September 26th at 9 a.m. So that's going to be a Thursday. So about 3.5 weeks away from now on a Thursday. He's letting the defense attorney to appear by Zoom just as long as he gives a court notice, which is fine. And yeah, I think that's about it. And then, he did extend the deadline. So if this new attorney wants to make any objections to the evidence, they did extend that deadline out to, I think, a week before trial. So that is a recap of today's case. And I feel like we learned some stuff here, or, had a refresh on things that I may have forgotten. But the overall grand scheme of this is there will be no continuance at all. Let me get the, let's see, where is it? Someone said that there was can you guys remind me? Oh, is it this one? No. Someone said that there was not this one. Not this one. What's the news station again that uploaded his interview? I thought I had it up here, but I don't see it. Yes, Sarah Boone seems relieved to just be able to sit back there and listen. Yeah, she does. When she first sat down in court today, she was all smiles, and I think she was even laughing a little bit. She's probably like, whew, I don't have to do this shit anymore. Oh, thank God. As long as she treats his attorney with respect, and, even if there is some contention between the two of them, I can't imagine the judge will allow him to withdraw. But right? Because he's not court appointed, and if he's doing this for free, then the judge can block him from withdrawing, right? Like, no, you're just gonna have to continue doing this. All right. Let's see. There was an interview that he did. I thought I had it up here. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can try to find it. Was it WF Fox 35? All right, let's go to Fox 35. Mr. James Owen. I have an ad right now. Just give me a second. Okay, so Sarah Boone's new attorney talks to reporters outside of the courtroom. It seems like the video is kind of lengthy, so I do want to hear what he's going to say. I think he's already talking to reporters and gave them a statement. Someone posted in my Discord. Guys, you guys haven't already, feel free to join the Discord if you like. We do have a true crime section. If you guys want to discuss true crime stuff off stream, feel free to put it on there. Oh, go to the end, watch her leave. Did I not go to the end? Oh, my bad. I usually try to go to the end. Did I not do that? There you go. Yeah, she looks happy. She's in a good mood. She giddy. Say bye to her attorney. Thanks for representing me. All right, there we go. Goodbye, Miss Boone. Let me get the interview up. Sorry, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Oh, that's right. In the Discord. Someone posted something in the Discord. Feel free to join the Discord if you like. And I appreciate if you guys do like the stream, if you guys enjoy the content. Give me a second. Okay. Oh, here's the Court TV. Ah, it's from Court TV, our favorite. We love Court TV. Court TV. Also, this ad that Sarah Boone wrote, that was a July ad. I wonder when the attorney decided to look into this case. Did he wait about a month afterwards to represent her? Did he do like some research? Was like, hey, I'll do it. I'll take it. Or did he not find out about it until like a couple weeks ago or something? Owen spoke to Court TV. On Friday, attorney James Owens filed a motion of appearance, then immediately filed a motion asking for Boone's trial to be delayed and said that as of August 30th, he will be representing the defendant. In the motion, he noted he was drawn to the case after seeing her advertisement. Okay, that advertisement worked. You know, we're making fun of it. It looked like a circus clown advertisement, but hey, it worked. In the motion, Owens says that he has met with Boone 4 times at the jail. During the meetings, they discussed exculpatory evidence in her case. Owens spoke with Court TV after filing his notice of appearance and said that he was inspired to reach out to help her after seeing coverage of her case. He said that after his first meeting with her in jail, he was reluctant to meet to represent her, but they worked out their differences and he is fully... Wait, what? Hold on a second. What differences did they have up front during the first meeting? Wait, what? Is he allowed to say this? Why is he giving us so much tea? He was inspired to reach out to help her after seeing the coverage of the case. He said that after his first meeting with her in jail, he was reluctant to represent her, but they worked out their differences and he is fully committed to the case. Okay, I mean, good for them. He says in quotations, I think Sarah feels good about it now because I think she realized representing herself is harder than it looks. Yep. So I think she's appreciative of having a lawyer again. She hired me. She retained me. I plan on seeing it through. I'm determined to help her see it through. All right. All right, good. Anything else? Okay, I mean, I think that's a pretty interesting statement from the attorney. Let's go to his video statement to reporters.
Thank you. Excuse me?
Oh God. Hello?
Sarah Boone, so I wrote her a letter about
Hello?
a week before that.
Can you guys hear? Wait, you guys can hear? How come I can't hear? Wait. Oh, is it on? Hold on. Let me put on my other earbud. Sarah's loving all the attention. They already had their differences. Maybe initially she didn't trust him because, you know, she did say that there were some kooky people that were trying to meet with her and pose as her attorney. Okay, let me...
And she had a third party.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so, let me see if I can find this on YouTube because I can't boost the audio of this. Let's see if they posted on their YouTube channel. Fox 35 Orlando. Give me 1 second, y'all. Sarah Boone. I don't see... They didn't upload on their YouTube channel. I don't know how to boost the audio on their webpage. I only know how to do it if it's on YouTube. Yeah, this is on their website. Oh, gosh.
A girl from Minnesota. I can't think of any other time. This is an aberration. Okay, this just a gap.
Oh my God, yeah, the audio is so low. Let me think.
In the system that hardly ever happens.
Give me a second. There has to be a way to boost this audio. I know how to boost the audio for if I were to edit this video, but for the live stream, I don't know how. I have it max on here. I have it max on here. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how I'm gonna have it louder on the live stream because I have a Google extension that does it for YouTube videos, but I don't know if there is one that does it for videos on other websites. It's not YouTube. You can hear it. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. You guys are gonna have to like really increase the volume on your guys' end. Put on some earbuds, and the audio is gonna be low for the live stream, but the audio will be loud and better for because I could edit the video and boost audio. So I'm sorry, y'all. The actual volume button, it's at its max. It's at max volume.
Why this case? Sarah Boone needed a lawyer. I mean, I can't imagine our system. The case is an aberration. Okay, this just a gap in the system that hardly ever happens. You know, on the federal level, on the state level, everybody charged with a crime is entitled to counsel. Okay, everybody. Never, unless the client, unless the defendant waives their right and wants to represent themselves, which is rare and foolish. But I understand the judge's ruling. We respect the judge's ruling. But that left Sarah in a position where she's standing in a courtroom accused of murder without a lawyer. I can't think of any other time that you would need one than in that scenario. So once that decision was made by the courts,
No captions, y'all. The captions button is blurred. It's blurred out.
Sarah put an ad out. Somehow it got on court TV. I watch a lot of YouTube, true crime. I saw it. I didn't immediately act on it. I waited 3 or 4 weeks thinking that one of the members of the defense bar here in Orlando would pick up the torch. 3 or 4 weeks went by. It did not happen.
Wait, who? He was hoping someone would pick up the torch? Who? Someone specifically?
Decision was made by the courts.
I'm sorry, y'all. There's no captions. I can't make the audio louder. This is just a website. I'm so sorry. Y'all just gonna have to max volume on your end or watch the video when I post it. I'm so sorry.
Sarah put an ad out. Somehow it got on court TV. I watch a lot of YouTube, true crime. I saw it. I didn't immediately act on it. I waited 3 or 4 weeks thinking that one of the members of the defense bar here in Orlando would pick up the torch. 3 or 4 weeks went by. It did not happen. I had another case down here in Hillsborough County in Tampa that I had to come down for. So I wrote her a letter about a week before that. And she had a third party, a girl from Minnesota, that reached out to me, I think first just to see if I was legitimate. They said to see if I think catfishing is what they thought I was doing somehow.
Catfishing? Hold on a second. Catfishing? What kind of catfishing would this be?
Some fraud. I think once the third party realized that I was genuine, then Sarah called me. And we talked on the phone a couple of times, and I said, hey, I'm coming down that Wednesday for that court case in Tampa. Why don't I just come down Monday, which I did. I got done with court, I think, Monday at noon. I drove down 6 hours, spent the night, got up the next morning. I think that was on the 20th, and I spent about 4 hours with Sarah Boone at the Orange County Jail. During that period of time, I was in talks with the prosecutor, let him know what I was doing. He wanted me to file a notice of appearance. I wasn't ready to make that commitment yet.
Alyssa, thank you so much. Tier 1. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining the membership. I appreciate your support. Love your name, and thank you so much. You can hear it? Okay, I'm glad you guys can hear it. I'm sorry. No, I don't think when he said that he was hoping for a Orlando defense attorney to pick up the torch, I don't think I re-listened to it. I don't think he like specifically meant anyone. I think he just meant anyone, any defense attorney in Orlando. He was hoping they would pick up the torch. If I remember correctly, I don't think Mentor Lawyer is a practicing attorney anymore, right? Didn't he retire from that or something, or he's doing something else?
I didn't do that, but I got Sarah to sign a document essentially saying, you know, you can speak to the prosecutor on my behalf. There was attempts to try to resolve it. If we would have come to terms,
I would have filed the notice of appearance. We would have set it for court, set it for hearing, and the case would have been resolved. So we did make attempts like everybody does in every.
Oh, I wonder what they were asking for. So I remember, I think plea deal was thrown around in one of the hearings, wasn't it? Like whether or not there would be a plea deal, if they were going to be in the talks of it. And then we're like, wait a second, is Sarah Boone working with the state on a plea deal? So obviously the state, it seems like maybe they rejected, or maybe the state offered Sarah a plea deal and she rejected, and maybe she tried to counter offer and they're like, nah, we're not doing that.
Every case, any prosecutor, any criminal defense lawyer, public defender, you have plea negotiations. That's just part of it. So there were attempts to settle it. I was kind of like a mediator. You know, I was kind of like a go-between, because once she became pro se, it's very difficult for the prosecutor to then communicate with the defendant. Actually, the rules say you got to do it on the record. And you can imagine not having somebody to negotiate for you, and she's trying to negotiate with the prosecutor, trying to send her to prison for the rest of her life. So somebody had to do it. I was doing it. But after those, so I met with her that day. I went over to Tampa, handled my case. I think I was done at 2:30. I came back. Well, Billy Lame, the investigator that's assisting Sarah Boone, pro se, he had scheduled an appointment to meet with Sarah that night. So I went back over to the jail. They let me meet with him. So
Dude, he's giving us like the play-by-play. We're getting the whole tea.
three of us met.
Okay.
This was, I think, the 21st, like it's set from 7 to 8:30. We met for about an hour and a half. And, you know, at that point, we couldn't reach an agreement. And then I wasn't ready to represent her at that point. I immediately told the prosecutor that there was an impasse, there was no agreement, that I was not going to be representing her. I got in the car and drove back home, got home about 4. I had court the next morning at 8:30. I was done with the case. I did the best I could.
Oh, okay. Is this what he meant by, with the court TV statement, with how they set their conflicts aside?
I want to say 2 nights later, my wife and I were home, and Sarah called, and we talked again. Of course, I was still thinking about it, what to do, and but I told Sarah I still was not committed to doing it. That was on like the 23rd. Well, then that third party called a day or two later, and really nice lady that I really respect. We've developed a relationship, and she asked me if I would go one more time. So I flew back down. We met again a couple of times. I can't remember the dates now, 25th and the 26th. But both meetings went well. And you got to understand, Sarah's been through 8 lawyers, so there's some trust issues. And on both sides, you know, I'm concerned, is she going to try to fire me, or we're going to have problems the same way, as you can imagine. But, you know, I like her. She likes me.
Also, why is there a stop sign in here? Hello? I've never seen a real last stop sign being used inside of a building. This is usually only for roads, for like vehicular instruction. Like, what is this? What is this stop sign doing in here?
Communicate well. I think we're both on the same page. And, you know, I spoke to my family, my wife, my daughter Sarah about it. Sarah's thinking about law school, so.
Oh, he's got a daughter, Sarah.
Their blessing. I have, you know, some colleagues that I practice law with, a law group there in Milton. And obviously it's going to take some staff to pull something like this off, especially knowing that the judge, I was in hopes he was going to continue it and give me 2 or 3 months. He did not. So we've got about 30 days, so I'm going to have some help from the staff, but I'm trying to assemble a team right now. I've got a couple of friends that are lawyers that have indicated they're going to help me. And
Okay.
what are friends for?
Are you doing it pro bono?
Because I was saying this, I was like, he must have been prepared for the judge to say no, you know, like just in case the judge say no, you know, he must be prepared to like, okay, I'm willing to represent this case, knowing that it could potentially happen October 7th if the judge says no, and he can properly prepare for it. Because he did tell the judge, he was like, hey, you know, if it does happen October 7th, I mean, I could work that out or something. Oh gosh, I don't have the exact quote. I don't think I wrote it down. But he did indicate that if it were to happen October 7th, that like, yeah, I guess he could be able to prepare for it.
I've been retained. I'm not doing it pro bono.
Who's paying for it?
Sarah owes me. Sarah owes me.
Sarah owes me. So I wonder if maybe it's one of those things like, hey, Sarah, I'm going to get you off on this. Okay, Sarah, when you get off and when you're free out in the world, I want you to work as my paralegal. What is it that remember Casey Anthony had someone that was like on her side? Was it an expert or someone? Or was it a PI? And then when Casey Anthony got off, he ended up hiring her to work with him. No, I'm not going through the sexual favors route, no.
Can you speak a little more to your plan for defense about the battered spouse syndrome?
Well, I'm not an expert, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that because we're time crunched now. As you know, I think y'all understand the rule now. We've only got till the 9th, which was today, the 3rd. We've got 6 days. So I'm going to try to pay for Dr. Julie Harper to fly down here later this week. She's actually from my area. The 2 experts that I had asked for, there's a 3rd one, but 2 of them are from my area. Dr. Harper's from Okaloosa County and Dr. Berkland's from Escambia County, but I've been in communication with Dr. Harper. I think I'm going to get her to fly down here later this week to meet with Sarah several times. Hopefully, at the end of those meetings,
Hello, how's it going? How are you doing today?
like I said, she's already met with her, but it was 2 years ago. She met with her 5 or 6 times. Hopefully, she's going to agree with me that she does suffer from battered spouse syndrome. And so then if she's able to give me that opinion by the end of this week, my intent is to file the notice with the court and the clerk of our intent to rely on that defense, and then we go from there. That's really all I can say. It's up to Dr. Harper, not me.
So you've got 6 days to do that. Now, barring a Matlock miracle and that doesn't occur, what is your other, plan of action?
So someone asked, you got 6 days to do that. What's your other plan of action?
Well, Sarah's been sitting in jail for a while. She's looking for her day in court, and we all want justice to be served. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I've been doing it a long time. The state has the burden of proof. They have to prove their case. I know there's some strong evidence in the case, but there are some explanations.
Okay.
I'd rather not get into my other potential defenses, but we do have some defenses. They've got to convince the jury beyond a reasonable doubt. That's all I really want to say. Just like any other lawyer facing a trial on a criminal case, the state has the burden. We're going to test the state's evidence, and then we've got potentially a case to put on. But we'll see. We'll see what happens at the end of this week. It'll be interesting to see if we can utilize, because I do believe she meets the criteria just from everything that I have viewed in terms of Mr. Torres's prior arrest. I did want to say something else, but I want to say something, but I'll wait for you if you
We
got
gotta
one.
move downstairs.
Okay.
Or, we can just wrap it up.
We could just wrap it up.
I did want to say this. The Torres brothers are violent towards women. I'll say that again. The Torres brothers, George and Farrell Torres, are violent towards their women.
Wait a second. Aren't there like 4 brothers?
Farrell Torres is George's brother.
Okay.
Are y'all aware of this?
Yes.
He was arrested in May in Seminole County for killing his girlfriend, the mother of his children. He stabbed her to death. I've got the file right here. He called 911. Eventually, the 911 operator got around to, where is the weapon? Where is the knife?
I think Farrell was the one that got in a fight with George, right? Because remember the interview that we listened to George's other brother, where investigators were like, oh, were you the one that got in a fight with George? And he was like, no, that wasn't me. And he was like, oh, wait, no, that was Farrell. Farrell was the one that, I guess him and George got in a fight or something.
It was still in her head. I don't know
You know, I don't know if he's going to be able to bring this up in front of the jury, though, because I don't know if it pertains to this case. Unless they're going to have Farrah go up there and testify and be like, oh, by the way, here's her history.
Sarah's told me about the family, the dysfunction. I seriously doubt that's going to be admissible in my trial.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, is it going to be admissible? But
There's two sides to every story. And Sarah's got a story to tell. I think she's been mistreated to some degree. It's difficult to represent yourself. I wish you could just imagine if you had a daughter that was in her situation where she's representing herself, or maybe a sister. Just for 10 minutes, just think about her situation. You know, she's backed into a corner, and she's the type, like most of us are, they're going to come out swinging. That's what she's been doing. Some of it is probably appropriate, some of it has been inappropriate, but it's all she knew to do was to fight. And she's been fighting. She doesn't have to fight anymore. I'm going to do the fighting for her. So she feels good about it.
I mean, that's the thing, though. It's not like Sarah Boone stabbed George, shot George. It was a suitcase. She left him in the suitcase, and she was like, the demeanor towards him while she was recording the video. Because it'd be a different story if it was like, okay, like, you know, she was defending for her life. They were fighting. She thought she was going to die. She grabbed a knife. She stabbed him. She ran away. Or she shot him. But, like, this is like suitcase. Like, one, he got in there somehow. Whether or not he got it himself, or I don't know if he passed out drunk, she put him in there. I don't fucking know what happened, okay? I don't know the story to that. But she left him in there. He was begging to get out. Like, it's a suitcase. It's like you had time to sit there, record him, and laugh at him and make fun of him. I just don't know. I feel like the jury's going to have a hard time overlooking that. Like, oh, okay, like, yeah, she was in an abusive relationship. She was being abused by him. But yet, how did he get in the suitcase? I don't know. Maybe she'll go up there and give us a different explanation than she did in the body cam footage of the police body cam footage and the interrogation. Maybe she'll give us a different story.
Feel good about it. We want justice to be served. We feel like if we get a fair jury, that we got a good chance. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
All right. I mean, sounds confident. We'll see. I can't wait for him to present, you know, if they can't go with the battered spouse defense, he says that he has some other explanations, but he's not going to reveal it to us now. But I can't wait for him to do his opening arguments. You know, I can't wait for him to get his witnesses up there and see what other angles they're going to try to go with, and what are they going to try to expose, I guess. All right. Very interesting. Like I said, I'm very happy that he's on this case. I'm glad that she has a real attorney now. I didn't want her to go up there, defend herself. I didn't want to listen to her bullshit, okay? I'd rather listen to a defense attorney's BS instead. But, yeah. I'm glad that she has him. All right, y'all, just to cover some dates. We have about 3.5 weeks from now, they're going to have another hearing where the attorney is going to appear by Zoom. That's going to be a pretrial stuff, right? Yeah, pretrial, September 26th at 9 a.m. And then after the pretrial hearing, the trial will start about, like a week and a half after that. And then that's what we got for Sarah Boone. Let her feel as though she has hope, unlike what George felt. Sarah doesn't want him as an attorney. After 2 days later, she regrets her decision and calls him again. I mean, he said he was worried about, whether or not, Sarah Boone's going to try to fire him. I don't think so. I don't know. We'll see. I can honestly see that, like, when she did pro se and she tried to do her own research and not having internet access, not having, unfettered phone access, because her calls are limited to 15 minutes. Just a lot of barriers that she had to, come across. I don't think she ever wants to represent herself ever again. I don't think so. But with her, who knows, right? Who fucking knows? Look at how she treated the other attorneys. Oh, yeah, and he did mention that they weren't able to get all of the autopsy or the autopsy photos or the crime scene photos or something like that. So we'll see if they figure that out. Hello, lover boy. How's it going today? Oh, yes, I was going to Google that. Matlock Miracle, Old Man reference. Yeah, I didn't get that reference. Matlock Miracle. Matlock Miracle reference. Matlock Miracle reference. I'm getting books by it. Is it a book? Miracles in I-40. I googled it. I know there's no reference. Hopefully the prosecution goes heavy. Matlock was like, oh, is it a TV show? When did it come out? Matlock TV show. 1986. 9 seasons. It's an American mystery legal drama. Oh, that sounds kind of cool. Maybe I'll check it out then. What is it on? It's on Pluto. What is Pluto TV? Well, you know what? Actually, I might have Pluto TV. Maybe I'll check it out then. I watched during the Karen retrial when the jury were deliberating. A lot of people kept referencing 12 Angry Men. I watched it recently. I enjoyed it. There's a new one. Oh, with Kathy Bates. I love Kathy Bates. Okay, I love Kathy Bates. I watched a courthouse series recently with Jake Gyllenhaal, where he's a state prosecutor. He was accused of murdering his lover, who's also a state prosecutor as well. And yeah, it was a very interesting TV show. It's on Apple TV if you guys want to check it out. That and Murder, She Wrote. Oh, that's with Angela Lansbury, right? The witnesses all said they beat each other and George had to protect himself. Yep, we're going to hear from, I don't know, all the neighbors, family members, the property manager. I need to upload the interviews, but it was on a stream though. So I need to upload interviews of the property manager and the neighbor that lived right next to Sarah Boone, who said that he heard like a loud like crash noise around 10 p.m. that night when they were drinking. So I'm sure we'll hear from them as well. All right, y'all. Well, I did a recap earlier of today's hearing. I won't do the recap again, but the attorney did speak with reporters outside of the courthouse for about 10 minutes. Like I said, the audio was really low on the stream. I was unable to boost it because it wasn't a YouTube video. So when we chop up the video and then upload on YouTube, I'll boost the audio on there so the audio will sound a lot better. But I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys have a good one. I'm going to be ending the stream. Feel free to like the stream if you guys enjoyed the content, and feel free to join the Discord as well. We do have a true crime section, and then like I usually post my updates of when I'm going to go live on there. I'm going to try to utilize the scheduled stream on YouTube more. I know other YouTubers do it. I think it's really helpful, but sometimes I just forget, you know. I just need to start using it. As for whether or not I'm going to cover the Sarah Boone trial live, I don't know. We'll see. It's really, really, really early for me. It'll be like the Depp v. Heard trial where it's like I have to wake up at 5 a.m., I have to eat breakfast, get ready, and then do all that stuff. So sometimes I'll cover the case live, and then sometimes I will just cover it maybe a couple hours behind, and then usually we catch up because we listen at like 1.25 speed, and then we get to skip through all the sidebars and the breaks and stuff like that. So I haven't really decided yet, but I will let you guys know. October is kind of a busy month for me, but I will definitely let you guys know. A bed stream? No, I'm always paranoid. When people have their streams in their bedroom, I'm always paranoid because what if you accidentally turn your stream on and you're like in bed and like, I don't know, like I make sure it's separated, okay? Like in the office and stuff, just to make sure if it ever turns on, you know, you're not seeing shit, okay? It's just the wall. Ain't nothing here. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care. I hope you guys had a good weekend, and I will see you guys again sometime soon to see if we cover anything else. We have Donna Adelson's trial happening this month. Sarah Boone next month. Alex Treviso, we don't know when. And that's about it. Matlock was a Southern gentleman in the pale blue suit played by the famous star from even the older shows. You don't know? Oh, Andy Griffith? I know of Andy Griffith. Definitely heard of that name before. The thing that I just can't get past is the way that she conducts herself. I'm not saying she wasn't abused by George. I'm just saying she's crazy as fuck. Yeah, she is. Yes, she's definitely the type of person that you definitely don't want to run into if you ever work in the customer service industry. Okay? But yeah, I want to check out that TV show. Thank you so much. Oh, hey, Bleep, how are you doing today? Wife watched a show on Apple TV called Defending Jacob, had Chris Evans. She said she liked it. Oh, check it out. Yeah, Apple TV, we activated the subscription recently, and there's a lot of good stuff on there. So I'm liking Apple TV, but also Netflix is dropping a bunch of TV shows and movies right now that I'm super excited for. I watched Deliverance yesterday. It's a horror movie, but I swear to God, it's barely a horror movie. Like it doesn't have a lot of scary scenes or anything like that. It's more, there's a lot of like funny scenes. So I thought it was like a comedy, but definitely check it out. You got 3 months for free because of Twitch. Wait, what? Wait, do they have that promo now? Because I only got 1 month free. What? I need to get that. All right, guys, on YouTube, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you guys